Okay. Well, I've started recording. The show can begin.
Show. Oh, the show can begin. I thought you were saying so, but being Sean Connery.
Show, we can begin. That was a
Show, we
terrible
can
Sean
start.
Connery. I didn't even really. I just was like, I'll just say the S's as a sh sound and be done. Hey everybody, I'm Sean Connery. Oh, there were no S's in that. It didn't even sound like
Except for the Sean part.
Sean.
It's just one
I'm
degree
saying
away from
Sean
Deckard
the
Cain.
same way
I'm
Sean
Sean.
Connery says it.
Hey, I'm Sean Connery.
I
I don't even know
sure
what accent
am.
that was.
Shit.
Surely you can just say Shay and Hesh.
All right, we should begin the show.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Serious faces.
Mine wasn't very serious. Hold on, do it.
No
again.
laughing, Ro.
Do it again.
No laughing. Serious faces. Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 351. It's Friday night, it's Star Wars Day, and we're not talking about it. My name is Ben Bumhofer, and with me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Hello, Ben! It is Friday night here in Azeroth, and I'm happy to be joining you here at the Azeroth Roundtable that is in Azeroth, where we talk about Azeroth and the various goings-on there. But, Ben, it's a subject we can't tackle alone,
Oh, we never do.
and we do sometimes. But it's not this week, because we have a guest.
Exactly. I got to jump in really quick before you introduce him and say, fresh off of his 300th episode of Ro Maintenance, Ro, welcome back to the show, and congratulations.
Congratulations, Ro.
Thanks, guys. I'm super happy to be here, but honestly, when it comes to this show, I will protect this show. I will fight you for this show. You will not hurt this show. For you see, there's some things in life worth protecting. Some things worth living for, some things worth dying for. A show like this can thaw the iciest of hearts, dispel the darkest of evils, and win the mightiest of wars. This show will be the thing that pulls us from the depths of despair and lead us to the path of salvation. Wars will be fought, people will be saved, and civilizations will prosper because of this show. So from this day forward, I solemnly swear to shield this show from all harm that may come to it, all dangers it may possibly face, and give my life for it.
So you're
Hi,
kicking
guys.
John off?
Maybe. We'll see.
Congratulations on your I believe he won the prediction episode, I think.
No, John, you did. You did this
Oh,
year.
sweet. That was intense, Ro. That was great.
Yeah.
It was the last episode I had this year to do some sort of long-winded intro. This was my last chance, so I had to make it count.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I like it. It made me feel special, at least.
It made me
mean,
feel
You
something,
should.
Fear.
which not everything does.
That's very true. It's very true. You have a heart of glass. But I don't know. I'm just thinking of something that's not normal.
Is Heart of Glass known for being unfeeling?
It's a new thing. I'm just making it up. Because at any point it can shatter.
Isn't that a song
Anyways.
about a heart of glass?
I don't know.
I don't know any of the lyrics, but I think at one point they go, "Had a heart of glass."
And then it shattered. You tried to put it together.
No, I don't think those are the lyrics.
I'm terrible with lyrics when it comes to music.
That's okay. I don't even know what song it is. But anyways, so yes, it is Azeroth Roundtable Row. You're joining us, John. It's another night to talk about the World of Warcraft. And there was a fantastic announcement that came out yesterday.
Yeah.
Now, John, I know that you were super busy, so you might not have caught it. But we have a date for patch 8.3.
Yeah, I caught that. I was gonna get you an advent calendar that was Fox themed
That actually would have been really great.
that counts down to January 14th, right? Did I get that date
Yeah.
right? Look at that.
Yeah.
Got it.
Not
Nailed it.
only did I obtain the news, I retained the news.
And look, we're talking about the news, John. It's an unprecedented event.
That's right. It's unprecedented.
Yes. In fact, this upcoming patch, some would say that there's so much content on it, it could be its own expansion.
Nobody's told us that yet, but I'm
Oh,
sure
that's true.
somebody will if we don't talk about it. So we should probably, I don't know, maybe talk about it. Ben, this is basically just a countdown for you before, like, are you saving up money in anticipation of changing all your character races? Are you just going to start fresh so you can go after that sweet, sweet heritage armor? What's your plan? Because look, everybody's curious what Ben's going to do because you've been talking about Volpera since the day you were born and nobody knew what it was.
Well, I mean, I jumped on the PTR and I hate them now. No, I'm kidding.
Oh!
I'm kidding. No,
That took a
great.
dark
turn. I actually do have a plan in place because it's what you do. I haven't saved up any money for it. It's going to be over time for the character, the race changes and stuff. But so first and foremost, I'm changing my hunter because why not? And I don't want to, go back out and re-hunt all the rare, pets that I have and stuff. So I'm just changing it. Considering that right now she's a Pandaren and she used to be a blood elf, she's just kind of used to this, so it's fine.
Just every day she wakes up. Who am I?
Who am I? And anyways, so then I'm also going to change my priest into a Volpera. Right now she's a goblin, and I'm not a big fan of the goblins. So that's not
you're
gonna
gonna
be too much of
love
a
the
change.
Volpera.
No, the Volpera, great. And then I'm going to create a Volperian mage and use my 120 boost on it.
Okay.
And then that's going to turn into my main mage, and that'll be my third one.
Wait a minute. If you know it's going to become your main mage, why not just race change your mage?
One, $25 versus I already have the 120 boost from Shadowlands, which I have been sitting here thinking, what should I even use it on? So there we go. I'll be better equipped than my current mage, which is the Blood Elf, who, if you remember, is technically sitting out this expansion because she's against the war, but I needed that heritage armor, so I leveled her to 120.
A conscientious objector until all of a sudden somebody waved a little armor at you, and then you were like, "My morals, help!"
Yeah,
Well,
pretty much.
No,
But
obviously, you got her to 120 by picking flowers, right?
oh yeah, and
Yeah.
by questing and doing the war campaign,
Mhm.
and she sided with Sarfang, so I got to see both sides of that, which is cool.
Boo. Sorry, go on.
Well, no, it makes sense for her, and then now she's gonna go and retire back in Dalaran again in the mage order.
That's what she thinks till Sylvanas finds her and shows her what for. Traitorous blood elf.
Maybe,
Wow.
but I still have my Nightborn mage just kind of sitting there, who was going to be the mage I played this expansion, but now I'm like Volpera, so. Yeah, go me. I like mages, just like you like rogues, John.
How many Volpera... What's your Volpera to Pandaren to other ratio when this is all said and done?
Okay, I'm gonna need you to help me count through this because I have no idea.
All right, well, you give Ro your Pandaren number, give me your Volpera number, and then you keep track of the rest.
Okay. You know what? We're gonna open up the good old World of Warcraft and look at all my characters.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
this is
It's
what
way
people
easier than
downloaded
trying to
this
forget.
podcast for. So you're all
We're
welcome for
talking about the
me
serious topics.
asking
Yeah,
the big
It's
questions.
serious stuff. It's very important. Okay. Let's see. View all your characters. There we go. Okay.
While Ben pulls up World of Warcraft to count his
Okay, are you ready?
characters, hold on, I'm doing a little intro. I
Oh,
just want to remind you all that Blizzard's taking a holiday, and so there's not a lot of news or, in-depth discussion. We could have invented something, and we did, and it turns out it's telling Ben to count his characters. So we're going to continue with this.
1. 2. Okay, so I'm going to continue as Pandaren, my main monk, which is going to be my main character still. My alliance monk. Let's see, my warrior, my shaman. I have a rogue who will stay that way, and then also I have a mage on the alliance side.
So that's 6 Pandaren.
Six Pandaren. Okay.
Okay?
Then I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3 Tauren. So Paladin, Druid, and then my Death Knight.
Okay.
I have one. Do you count bank tunes?
Yes, we'll go ahead and count bank tunes.
Yes, we'll count bank tunes. Okay. Then I have 3 blood elves. One of them's a demon hunter, though, so I don't know if we should really count that since you don't really have a choice.
Now, I need to stop you right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I had questions as well, Ben.
Okay.
Ro, thank you.
Blood elves for bank tune. Doing anything on the side to help fill those bank coffers with those blood elf bank tunes, Ben?
Yeah, you doing mailbox dancing?
That's
No,
what I'm
not at
wondering.
all. No, she's
Alright.
stationed in Silvermoon just because low pop, no one's ever there. So I just walk right up to the bank, walk right back to the mailbox, and I'm good.
What do you need those bank alts for? Huh?
Storing the majority of my money, and that's she's always by an auction house, so I just move her over there to
What do
do
you
my
think
auctions.
you need those bank alts for, Ben? You don't think you
The
can
big reason
manage
is I
that from
don't-
your main character?
Well, I don't want to run auctioneer on my main character.
Why not?
Yeah, because I have a lot of
Because-
characters. So why don't I have one person designated for the auction house? So I send everything to her. She takes care of it.
Why don't you send everything to your main character?
Because I don't want to do that and have to make her go to an auction house.
How many bank alts you got, Ben?
2, one for Horde, one for Alliance.
How much?
I picture this bright hot light above Ben right now.
That's what I'm picturing.
What's your
too.
what's your transmog set at for them bank alts, Ben?
Let's see. For the Blood Elf, she's wearing the Heritage armor,
Mm-hmm.
and for the Dwarf, he's wearing, I think, just heirloom armor.
All right. Getting that bonus XP on your dwarf, huh?
No, he just looks better than in ratty clothes.
Okay.
Yeah.
To
look,
go to the bank.
Well, yeah. If you want to be rich, you have to put off the idea of wealth. Everybody knows that.
All right, Ben. You win this
Okay.
round.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, so for Tauren, I've got my Paladin, my Druid, and my Death Knight. I've got the 3 Blood Elves, like I said. Let's see. 1 Void Elf. Oh, sorry, 2 Void Elf, or not. Yeah.
Oh,
let
you
me
know
read-
what? We really only should have counted.
Nightborn elves.
We only really should have counted Horde. Because Vulpira can only be Horde.
Yeah. Okay.
Go back to the beginning.
You should probably talk amongst yourselves because I'm about to have a coughing fit.
Okay.
Aw.
Ro, what do you...
Yes, John.
Okay, so let's talk about this bank alt business. You have a lot of money in the World of Warcraft. Why can I still hear Ben coughing?
I don't know.
Isn't that
I
weird?
don't-
You heard that, right?
I heard the first one, yeah.
Like, that was strange. He, muted and went
It
away,
had to
and
have
I
been
heard
so
it.
loud that it just broke the mute barrier.
I mean, he doesn't live too far away from me, and so there was, was it that loud and that intense?
Maybe.
Anyway, Ro, you've got a lot of
Yeah.
money in the World of Warcraft.
I do.
Do you have a bank alt?
Not really, no. I do have my main alt does have a sizable chunk of my gold, but it's not specifically a bank alt or an alt I use for auction house. I do most of my auction house stuff on my main character.
Yeah, me too. Like, there was a point I did used to have it. It was a thing I definitely used to have.
Mhm.
But I found once they did the, the reagents and all of that, spot, and once bags got ridiculously big, and then on top of that, I didn't feel like I was carrying around as much stuff. Felt like the need for that went away. Ben's got
Yeah.
2. I just think he's up to something. I don't know what.
So the reason you can still hear me coughing is because it takes a lot for my mic and mixer to shut down the mic.
Oh,
I
okay.
can't just mute myself because I'm recording the podcast.
I gotcha.
Ah.
That's good to know. It was just weird because I thought you had already muted, and then I heard you, and it was.
Oh, I
scary.
did, and then it's like, it is like this, and then it slowly fades, and then it finally disappears, and then it's all.
Yeah, it was like that.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So I don't know. Just I had a banking alt for a very long time, and I just never got rid of it.
Ben, do you think you're gonna have more Vulpira than pandas?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
Like that we've
I'll have
simplified this down.
I'll have 3 pandas,
Uh-huh.
and 4 pandas. Sorry, and
4 horde pandas.
1, yeah,
Okay.
and 3 Volpyran.
It's close.
Panda's still winning though.
Yeah.
Oh no, 4 Volpyra.
Oh.
Because
It's a dead
I forgot that this entire thing that and John, you're gonna like this the most.
Okay.
In order to get the heritage armor, I'm creating a rogue from scratch.
Hell yeah.
So I do have one question for you. Does Pandalanya? Well, no, Pandalanya is now Shalboshi, so you don't have a Pandalanya anymore. I was going to ask, were you going to change your character to
as the name save?
Ah, good call. Have you? Well, now I don't want to. Well, okay, it's obvious, and people in this stream, if you end up reserving this right now, you're a bad person. But did you already reserve Volpera? No, that doesn't work. Never mind.
I didn't at all.
No, it does not roll off the tongue. That was,
Volperania?
yeah.
Volperalanya.
No,
It's probably too long, too.
probably.
I like the idea of a name that it seems simple when you think about it, and then you try to say it out loud, and you're like, this is incredibly difficult. Volperalanya. There you go.
Volperalanya.
I wouldn't do that because the L makes it too much of a mouthful. I just go Volperania.
No, that just sounds like some slash Volpera fic.
Yeah, it does actually.
It sounds like a Game of Thrones. Wow. Okay.
Yes, I'm from House Volperania. Our sigil is the fox. Our words are smarter than a fox.
Wow, what a boring ass house. We're really into foxes over here.
Why aren't you crazy like a fox? I mean, come on now.
No, that's just going too far.
Oxygen
Okay,
is the fox.
I do have another question for you, Ben.
Our
And my
colors
name's
are kind
actually-
of an orangish red and white. You know,
But in the wintertime, it's
Like a
white.
fox.
Just full white.
it changes.
Anyways.
Are you going to ever have your Volpera ride the fox mounts?
That's a tough one. That's just weird.
kinda weird, right?
It's like would a Tauren ride a cow mount?
It's like it's like if in Encino Man the very first thing they did was jump on Brendan Fraser's shoulders and make him take them places.
I'd watch that. That'd be funny, actually. I don't know. I'd really have to figure because I have 2 fox mounts. I have the really cool flying blue one that Nevermore got me, and then the orange one that I spent my life trying to get.
From Tolbrad.
So- Yeah. No, not from Tolbrad. From
Oh,
Suramar.
right, yeah. Right, Suramar. Why was I thinking? I was thinking
Because you're thinking
Tolbrad
of the
for
pet.
the pet. Yep.
Yeah, which you can buy now, but.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know. I like the really cool hyena mount with like the the over like tent thing that's on the back.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. I'm like, I think we might do this. So I don't know. We'll see. And who knows? Maybe that tent thing doesn't actually fit indoors because Taurens still have that issue.
Yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes your mounts just it seems like a good idea at the time, but it goes wrong.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, true. High Mountain Tauren do have a Moose as a racial mount. That's right, Leo Wild.
I know why. I think I know why you're changing some of your characters to Volpera because you
Because
think
they're
that
awesome.
Volpera are awesome and cute and cool. No one's asked me yet why I'm changing my main to a Volpera.
Oh,
Oh,
you are?
I didn't know you were doing that. So
Oh,
hold on.
Yeah.
Let's rewind a little bit. Ro, why are you changing your main? I've got a note here that says you're changing your main to a Volpera. Why
I
do you
am.
think you're gonna do that? Out of curiosity.
That's cool.
I mean, while I will admit that Volpera are cool, and I like the idea of a crafty Volpera engineer,
Mm-hmm.
the main reason I decided I must change to a Volpera is for my raid team.
And just to make me happy? No, this is so that you can get heals all the time, because you know that if there's a Vulpera, I'm going to automatically just heal them no matter what, so I never have to watch them die.
Well, there is that also, and the fact that Volpera have that make camp ability, so I'm just going to set up camp at the raid entrance so that I can be at the raid entrance ready to summon people as a warlock. I'm doing my due diligence.
Cool. That's actually really nice.
That's actually that's the main reason I'm doing it on my main and not going Volpera on an alt, because I'm like, this functionality, this racial ability is actually pretty freaking awesome. And since most of the time I play on my main is for raiding, why not have that?
Yeah. Plus, you get more bag space.
That's also true.
Anybody want to take a guess on what my Volpera is going to be?
A rogue.
Ben?
That is also my guess.
All right, well, we'll find out. You can all cast your vote for what I'm going to make my first Volpera by sending an email to azerothroundtable@gmail.com. Go ahead and put predictions in the subject line.
Or we could just set up a poll on Twitter.
Man,
Oh,
what if
that's
it's
only 4 options.
Yeah, it's only 4
what if
options.
it ends up being a Volpera Death Knight, Ben?
I don't actually, like, here's the thing. I genuinely don't know. I'm intrigued by the Volpera. I think they're a cool race. I think they're one of the coolest additions. I did go in and make one on the PTR. It was in the very early days, and they were more goblin than fox at the time, and it was jarring, and I hated it, and I wanted it to die in a fire. So
they've changed quite a bit since then.
That was a problem. But once it's actually in the game, I definitely feel like I want one, but I don't know what I'm gonna make yet. So
you should totally make a shaman, because their totems are cool.
We'll see. That should have been your guess if you were gonna try and lead me in that direction.
Well, the thing is, John, I know you, and I also know the class that you like to play most.
Yeah.
And of all the classes, the character type that you have probably made the most, which, if I had to guess, it's either rogue, which is very highly likely, mage, or shaman.
That's probably accurate. It's probably not wrong. Made a lot of warriors too.
Yeah.
Made a couple paladins. Lots of stuff in there. Lots of stuff to be made. I will say this. Here's where I would say that I think rogue is a questionable decision. I currently main a rogue, which is not going to be race changed. I will confirm that. At least not race changed to a Volpera. I'm really tempted once the new customization options are in place, depending what they are. Ooh, if they put standing up straight undead, I might go back to undead.
Ooh,
I would be
cool.
real tempted. But I've got that rogue. I've got an alliance rogue that is pretty much just an exact copy of my blood elf, but in worgen form.
That's what my alliance monk is. It's to the customization options. The only difference is, instead of blue hair, she has red hair on the alliance.
Well, mine's a totally different race, but I did take a screenshot and literally pick the same buttons in the same places and all of that. Because I was like, I just want the same experience when I go over there. I know I'm going to go from powerful to shitty, but, I want at least the experience to be roughly the same. And that's what I also played on the vanilla server. And I've got plenty of experiences playing a rogue. So I don't really have a reason to make a new one at this juncture, but maybe.
Yeah.
You both made the bet. I'll let you know who wins.
I'm definitely doing a Volpera Death Knight just to see what the changes to the Death Knight experience are.
I don't think that's going to come into play until 9.0, though.
No. There is a new Death Knight starting experience.
Okay.
Oh, I thought that was 9.0 as well, but I guess I wasn't paying attention.
I think if you have I want to say that if you have Shadowlands pre-ordered, that you get to make allied races Death Knights for the other allied races.
Oh, that's awesome. Chat room's confirming it as well. That's very cool. I like the new eye effect. I saw that.
Yeah.
That
That is very
looks
cool.
good. That makes me slightly more intrigued to make a Death Knight. Here's the big question though. Have they made Death Knights fun again?
It's a good question. I haven't played a Death Knight in a
Legion-
long time.
I really enjoyed mine in Legion when I was going through the order hall and stuff. That was pretty cool. Like I felt really like freaking powerful and just But then again, I had that same feeling on my warrior as well.
I don't remember the last time I liked the Death Knight. I like when it first came out, I really liked Death
Oh,
Knight.
everybody did. They
And
were OP as
then
hell.
there were a couple times I picked it up after that that I really, really liked it. I remember struggling a bit with it in Legion, and I don't know if I've touched it at all in BFA. So maybe they are already good again, but I did not like how my Death Knight played in Legion. I know that because I played every spec for a little bit and then stopped playing the class.
I remember the old school Death Knight resource system with runes and everything like that, and I thought that that was so cool. And I mean, I understand why they simplified it eventually, because it was a lot to keep track of, but
Yeah.
it was still so different from everything else. I think that's why I liked playing a Death Knight back in the day.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of at a decision point here.
Oh.
So here's the thing.
I think
As
you
you
should
guys
stay
know-
on the show, Ben.
Okay. I appreciate that because all this time I thought you didn't like me.
No, you should be here.
Okay.
You're like a linchpin.
Oh, thanks. I think.
A
Anyway,
David linchpin, but a linchpin nonetheless.
Better a lynch pin than a lynch mob?
Sure.
true, and better than a Cronenberg pin. That'd just be wrong.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing. In our raid team, we've picked up another healer. It's at the point where there's a possibility that I don't need to heal anymore. I really enjoy healing. And I can either swap my monk to, Windwalker and do a punchy kick, or see how that new Volpira mage is going to be played.
Ben,
If I'm going to actual DPS.
I want you to think back real hard, Ben,
Okay.
to the days where you were not Ben Bumhofer, but you were Ben the Mage. The days where you reached through the cosmos and grasped the primordial planes and the elements contained within and drew forth power into your hands and called it at your own whim and flung it at your enemies to smite them where they stood, to burn them to ash when they dared raise up against you. I want you to remember what that felt like, Ben, and feel it again.
Well, I did level a mage not too long ago. So I do remember what that's like quite well, actually. But not in a sort of group or raid setting.
Oh, who cares about rating? You're gonna stop next expansion anyway.
I might. I don't know. Well, and see, that's the thing. It's like, I enjoy healing so much that I don't know if I really can go back to DPSing. Partly because I'm going to start becoming obsessed with my numbers again, which I really like not having to do. And I know that I'm going to get like super duper frustrated when it's like, okay, here's this mechanic. Oh, I got to move. Okay, here's this mechanic. Oh, got to move again. Here's another mechanic. Got to move. I mean, I already hate that as a healer, but when it just completely affects your DPS, which is your entire point for being there, and if your numbers are low, it's like, hey, I'm doing crappy. I don't know if I am that kind of player anymore at all.
A quick side question, because talking about gotta move.
Uh-huh.
We are in a, friends and family casual kind of raiding group. We are going to be running normal difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
With all that in mind, and our raid group, as do I, are you going to give any corrupted gear a chance, or are you cleansing any corrupted piece you find?
No clue what any of that is, because I haven't really dug into it.
I won't break down all the details, but basically corrupted gear is the exchange for their, instead of Titan forging, some pieces can be corrupted, and if you wear corrupted gear, you get a bonus, a pretty cool bonus. But if you have too much corrupted gear on, bad things happen while you're wearing it.
You have to uninstall the World of Warcraft.
Oh no.
Things like little void zones will appear at your feet, or you'll get hit with a minor slow debuff, or you'll take more damage. Things like that. The more corruption you have on you, the more bad things can happen. And part of the whole point of the Visions of N'Zoth system is, as you're upgrading your cloak gains corruption resistance, so that eventually you can equip more pieces of corruption without having so many bad things happening.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought too much about that.
Okay.
If I'm DPSing and it's basically like, okay, well you can play the game, but we're gonna make it like really suck for you, then no, I'm cleansing everything. I don't care.
I'm really torn on corruption right now. I'm like, do I really want to go for the highest possible DPS and also have to play this kind of mini game where I have to be mindful of these extra corruption effects? Or do I just want to nuke the boss and do the raid?
Yeah, no, I kind of get that. And again, that's the thing, is if I do go DPS, then I'm going to be way too focused in that, and it's going to be one of those, okay, I need to be number one, like just hands down. That's just what I
You
need
are
to do.
not beating Hunts the Win, sir.
There have been times that when I was DPS, I have.
Really?
It was previous expansions, obviously. But depending on the
Okay,
fight,
now
it's
I want you to do it now. I want to see this clash
but
of
I don't
DPS
really want
titans
to.
happen.
Yeah, Ro's not giving you friend advice, Ben.
No,
he's
no.
giving you.
I wanna
he's
see
giving
blood.
you
Are you not
unfriendly.
entertained?
Yeah, he's giving you unfriendly advice. So let me come in with some friendly words of wisdom for you.
I'm the
Ben.
devil on the shoulder.
As long as your words of wisdom just aren't, hey, don't raid anymore, because that's not
I
the discussion.
definitely
Ben,
want you to raid.
I have looked at your problems, what you've described to me, and I hear you. You know, you like to heal, but it sounds like that role's getting filled pretty easily. You know, you used to be a mage, that was fun, but you've got this whole gotta worry about my numbers mechanic, gotta be competitive, gotta stay in with the raid group and all of that. They're dependent on me. And Ben, let me introduce the concept of just not raiding anymore. Now it doesn't matter. Now you can play whatever you want. Who cares? Because
hey,
that's
that's
the
true.
way the World of Warcraft is the most fun.
And then we can start recording on Sundays.
Oh man! No, Sundays are gone now.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say Wednesday.
Ro's gone. He just left. He's just done. I don't know. It's fine. People can raid. It's fine, but it does feel more and more like a antiquated thing.
And it's funny because, I mean, modern day raiding is nothing like it was back in like Lich King. Like, yeah, sure, a bunch of people get together and they go try to kill something. But now it's, here's 500 mechanics because the top players in the world are, you know, better than everybody else and they just can take everything. So it's different than it was, but overall, like, I enjoy our group. I really like playing, you know, I do enjoy raiding with them. And I think a lot of it is, you know, I've kind of said it before and everything, but this expansion, like the first two raid tiers were just so overtuned for us that it wasn't fun. But then the last one came along and you know what? I had a blast.
I did too, but I will say it's weird, right? Because that raid tier, the Eternal Palace, was probably our best raid tier of the expansion. But unfortunately, we had just had so much fatigue from the previous two tiers that once we beat Eternal Palace, we're like, okay, we're done. And we went on a hiatus, we went on a break, which we're still on.
And it's been great. I have loved every second of it.
It has been good for the most part, but for me, I've been wanting to get back into raiding as of about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I, for one, am super glad that January 14th, 8.3 will be here. I think normal mode opens on January 21st. So,
I think so. Let me double check. I know you said
because the Mythic race is on the 28th, so normal mode's on the 21st.
Yep, 21st from what you said in our Discord. So I'm assuming that you were correct because you generally are.
Also weird that the race to world first is happening on the exact same day as Warcraft 3 Reforged, which got a release date finally announced for it. I don't know. I mean, must feel bad to be someone who wanted to stream Warcraft 3 Reforged, because you're going to have a lot of people watching the race to world first instead that are interested in WoW. Not that you'll lose everyone.
No, I think those are entirely different groups of people.
I one of those two things interests me. The other is like watching people who are out of their mind. The race to world first is it has baffled me since the day it began. The we gotta be the first to do it. I hate it. I think it's bad for the game.
I kind of agree with that, actually.
Wow.
It's interesting to me that there are people who are still so dedicated that they need to be the first to do this. It's kind of like when a new expansion comes out and they want to be the first person to max herbalism or the first person to hit 120 or something like that. To me, I get that that's how they play, and there's hundreds of ways to play WoW. Everybody knows that, but it really, to me, feels like, okay, it's the South Park World of Warcraft episode of, now that we've leveled up so high and beaten this guy, what do we do now? Oh, we can play the game now. But they're already max and everything, and that's my feeling on it. But again, it's what they love to do.
Yeah, I mean, I am fine that it exists. I'm not criticizing it from they should get rid of it, old man yelling at Cloud. But and I mean the Final Fantasy VII character, but I mean it from just the perspective of, I mean, you've already heard my advice to Ben, which is stop raiding. So Race to World First takes the things that I think are bad about raiding and turns it up to 11, and takes all the things that I genuinely like about raiding and removes it completely. So the idea of watching it, following it, and caring about it is just weird to me, because it's nothing but the worst parts of raiding, in my opinion, was just watching people bang their head against a wall.
I think the reason why Race to World First is such a big deal, and it just continues to be such a big deal, is because for the raiding section of the player base, for like the people that are raiding at the bleeding edge and such, that's their big esport moment of the year. I mean, for people who run dungeons, you have the MDI. For raiders, you have the Race to World First. I've always wondered, well, not always wondered, but basically since they put in Mythic and Mythic Pluses and we have things like the MDI, I'd have to wonder if raiding had a similar system where you had like Mythic Plus raiding. Yeah. Then the Race to World First is no longer a big deal, because it's not trying to be the first to just clear it on Mythic. It's over the course of the season, which group would be able to clear it on the highest Mythic difficulty level, the highest Mythic Plus level. And I think there's some value to be found in that. And if you had Mythic Plus rating, you can't do it as a race, because if you push too hard, too fast, too early, you're going to burn out. That's more kind of like a paced marathon, and something you can kind of check in on every once in a while if you're like an observer and stuff. But while I love the Race to World First because I love like the attention that it brings to Warcraft, ever since the MDI has been around, I've been like, why not bring this into raiding?
I support that, because I support anything that changes rating from what it currently is. So bring it on. Let's do it. Let's get it on the books, as they say.
Like, in all honesty, I think this is the best thing for rating and for those top tier players, because one, it'll keep bringing them back, as opposed to, just, okay, Mythic rating right now is, hey, there's set mechanics, this is how it works, beat it. World of Warcraft, if anything, is constantly trying to pull people back and get them to keep playing. And if it's a constant challenge, then there you go. You have it right there. It's something that'll just, continue to grow. On top of that, affixes could be more boss abilities as opposed to putting it like, mainline and then trying to have to scale it down depending on the difficulty. I like this idea more of like, okay, well, this boss does, an AoE every 30 seconds or something. It puts out shadow damage on everybody, but on normal mode, it still does it, but it's a lot less damage or something. Have that be an affix on this boss or something, and it just stacks. It makes it better for all raiders all over the place because I know that, actually. Balancing. That's a word.
Balancing.
Balancing.
Get a good milk and balancing over here.
Exactly. But balancing is, it's rough for the Blizzard team. I get that. Previously in this episode, we said the previous 2 raid tiers were not balanced for our level of play. Having multiple levels of Mythic give them, much more fine tuning to be able to do on which difficulties, while still having like heroic and normal being what they are, and making the hardest challenges that are, our team is never gonna get there unless it's 2 expansions later and we're farming it for transmog gear.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll say this to anybody that's like, why is John being so harsh on rating? It's fine. Like, I'm the wrong audience for this sort of thing. Like, every now and then, if I do a stream, I'll say, hey guys, what game should I stream? And every time I make the mistake of putting WoW on there because it gets picked every time. And like, so clearly there's interest, but I'm baffled by it constantly. I would never watch WoW streamed. That's not a judgment on anyone who does. It's not a game I would enjoy watching. It's a game I love to play, and whenever I stream it, I feel guilty because I feel like I'm hurting people, but clearly there's an interest there. Clearly there's a desire there that I may not understand, but I acknowledge is there and I respect. And that sort of thing shows up for things like the MDI, shows up for things like Race to World First, when there's new patch content. Like, there's a ton of excitement around the community for it. And so if I poo-pooed it and that bummed you out, I apologize. I don't fully get it.
Well, that's a weird thing about streaming in general, is that, and when I try to explain this to like my parents or something, like they never will get it, and that's fine because they're not gamers. They don't understand. Gaming, even single player games and stuff, is kind of a social experience because you go in and you have an experience with a game. And how I do something, I mean, depending on how stringent or lax the game is with its rules or everything else in there and stuff, it could be vastly different from what Ro, you do, or John, what you do.
Yeah.
So being in an MMO, I think it makes sense that people are interested in seeing how other people play and what they do, what add-ons they might have and things like that. Whereas Jedi Fallen Order, John, if you stream it, it's going to be very different than how I stream it because I don't give a crap about the difficulty. I want to see what's going on. So I'm just flying through, zooming in, killing stuff super fast. I'm like, woo! And then something actually kills me, and I swear a whole bunch because guess what? I'm on story mode. This shouldn't happen.
So I tend to agree with John when it comes to watching WoW being streamed. Race to World First is that, and MDI Esports are about the only times that I watch WoW being streamed. And even when the race is happening, it's on a second stream and I'm kind of just casually checking in on it. Just watching day-to-day WoW streams isn't really my thing because I'm like, well, with the time that am watching this stream, I could either be A, playing WoW, or B, watching someone stream a game that I don't feel I'm going to have the time to play, but whose story I'm still interested in. Like recently, I've been watching a couple people stream Death Stranding because it's one of those games that I know I am absolutely not going to buy, but I'm intrigued by the story.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I just have to point it out. I think it's Jaffa in the chat room does say normally people watch for the streamer. The game is just a plus, so that
Sure.
totally makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
with you on that.
That's a big reason to watch Tally. It's because the personality of who Tally is. It's like I've watched Tally stream a few times, and I'm rarely ever watching it because of what he's playing, because it's just WoW, but it's because he's entertaining.
Yeah, and
that's
John,
true.
I mean, think about it. If you're playing WoW and it's a game that our audience knows forwards and backwards, they could be playing WoW at the same time and not really paying too much attention to you, but still listening and enjoying the content.
Right, and I know that because I'm not by any means a pro streamer or
Oh,
even
yeah, you are.
even close to that.
Totally.
Uh,
I've
but-
been to your streams. You're
but
good.
as a result, I have a tendency, if I'm playing a game that I'm more engaged with, one of the ones that I wish people voted for, I'm not going to talk to the stream. I'm not going to communicate with them because I'm going to be all engrossed and just be like, guys, I'm just playing this game. WoW tends to be very passive because I've played it for so long and I don't know what to do when I do commit to doing it. And I just go, okay, well, here's me doing dailies. You could be doing this too, but you can watch me do them. Let's go. But as a result, for my sanity and what I assume is theirs, I am more engaged in the chat. And I know that that's important for streaming as well.
Yeah. Well, you know, I will say though, first of all, John, you're going to yell at me, but I still need to finish The Last of Us.
I know! That's
And I
that's
got
my
one season
Good thing
left.
they've delayed
and
The
then
Last of Us 2
DLC.
a little while.
Yeah, well, my goal is to finish that after Christmas. Well, actually after the new year because I'm super busy with work and I don't have time for that. But, it's weird because like whenever I'm streaming something, I definitely want to be engaging with the chat whenever they're there. It's really hard sometimes depending on the game, like you were saying, John, but also so that it's not just like silence and then the game going on. I make an ass of myself all the time. I thought, oh, let's go over here. Blah, blah, blah. You know, I feel like I'm just spilling the dead air because, you know, as a podcaster, it's what you do. Like if there's ever a pause that's long enough, like especially on a show with the three of us, one of us just immediately just jumps in because it's like dead air is something you don't have.
Yeah, watch.
So-
Let's see how long we can be quiet before
No,
it gets
I don't want
uncomfortable.
to.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
No, this is.
Didn't make it very long.
I knew Ro was gonna do it, so that's why I'm trusting him. but yeah, so like when I'm streaming, especially like okay, so for when I stream through the entire Mass Effect series, I don't include Andromeda, but you know when I did that trilogy, I had a lot to comment on because I was playing through in a way that I never played before, which was Renegade mostly. And and then I was like, oh well, this is I've never seen this part before. This is really neat how this happens, and I'm laughing with what's going on because Shepard's a total jerk and as a renegade and stuff, and I'm able to comment and talk about the game and stuff like that because it's something that I played before. Whereas when I'm going through The Last of Us, it's rough for me because one, I've never played it, so I don't know what's going on, and if you haven't played that game, there's parts where you're just like, I need to just sit and reflect on what happened because holy crap, something amazing just happened, whether it's a good amazing or bad amazing. So like in that sense, it's hard for me to stream it just because I'm like, half the time.
So
and then I'm just, blah, 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 let's search this room up, something in here.
here's
I
a
can make another shiv.
here's a question for you guys. Because I think back to what for me to actually stream it, and I think at least as far as chat reception was, the most successful I ever was streaming WoW was Mage Tower days.
Yeah.
Doing those Mage Tower attempts. Which is funny because that's kind of like, if you boil it down, it's kind of like raiding with one person. But anyway, that little factoid aside that I'm acknowledging, with this new tower that we're going to be having that we can do solo or with a small group, I mean, do you think this is going to be like the expansion to stream content from? Because I kind of feel like that seems, I mean, whether it was intentional or not, but very keyed in to what streamers and people who follow streamers might be into.
Well, yeah, because I mean, if we are to believe everything that they're saying about this, there's some, roguelike elements in it. There's going to be some randomness involved, so not every run is the same time when you go through it. And hopefully but they've learned their lessons from island expeditions, so you're not racing against the clock. You're just trying to tackle things, in an efficient manner. I really hope it is. I mean, I am just as excited. No, I'd probably say I'm more excited for this tower deal than I was for island expeditions. And I'm really hoping that other people in my raid team are too. Just like I'm really hoping other people in my raid team are excited about Visions, because yes, I could do them solo, but I think Visions would be really cool to do with some people on the raid team.
Here's my prediction
with people. Yeah.
It's gonna be so fun you won't need raiding in your life anymore.
Oh.
If that happens, then that's fine. If I find that I'm having a very enjoyable time and I'm still doing it with the people that I like to play the game with, and if we're meeting on the same nights, like if our raid team gets to a point where we break up into 2 groups, and because you can have 1 to 5 people, if you end up having 7 or 8 people show up, that's going to be perfectly fine, because you can have like a group of 3 and a group of 4, or a group of 4 and a group of 5, and we have 2 groups just hit the tower that night instead of raid.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
Well, and that's one of the biggest challenges that we do have is if we don't have a full 10-man team, there's not a lot we can do. We can't have 2 groups running dungeons. Or if 13 people show up, again, can't run dungeons. It's one of those things where having that flexible amount of people, like, flexible rating, it's something that will definitely be beneficial for us. And I mean, there's always going to be random weeks where, like, the perfect storm happens where Tet and Nevermore and I can't make it. And that's, 2 tanks and a healer. It's like, well, what do we do at this point? Let's run the tower. Have some fun.
Yeah, then I can just organize people for tower groups, and we run towers that night, and we're still getting something accomplished. Because one thing from the way they've described kind of what they feel the general flow of gameplay is going to be, I think the team is going to expect most players to do at least 1 or 2 tower runs a week. That being said, I know that in our casual raiding group, there are going to be people who are basically showing up for raid night and pretty much nothing else. So there will be weeks where they don't do the tower because they're just showing up for raid night. So if we have a night or a week or something where we do the tower instead, that's fine.
Yeah, plus it'll break up that monotony of, hey, we're beating our head against this boss called Blockade,
let's go.
Which is still the worst thing that's ever been added to this game.
Let's go run the tower. That's what WoW needs more of. I mean, that's been a rallying cry of mine for years now, which is that World of Warcraft has too many hurdles to get into raiding. And some people love it. Some people, like, that's the game. But having to assemble the amount of people, having to have the right class makeup to fill roles, having to have gear level at a certain place, and having to have real commitments about the amount of people. I know we've made it easier and easier and easier since the days of vanilla, but at the same time, why choose that when you can turn around and say, or we can just go play X, whatever game, and we can all play it, and whether you're new or you've been playing it for months, you can just get in and have a good time right out of the gate, and there's nothing else you have to do. And to me, that's a real problem that WoW needs to overcome. And so I'm happy that this tower thing offers at least a small possibility of that.
Yeah, especially for those people. Hold on. Especially for those people who are going to use a 120 boost on a Vulpera to make a mage.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, John.
Yes.
Are you saying that if during Shadowlands a Wednesday or a Sunday night comes up and we happen to not be raiding that night, but we're running the tower, you might be coaxed into running along with us?
Well, Ro, as somebody who does a podcast on Wednesdays and Sunday nights, my answer is absolutely not. It will not happen. So enjoy yourselves.
It was worth some Sundays where it doesn't happen. Generally, the week before or after we play RPG.
I know, yeah, there is a curse. the problem with Sunday is that if my show on Sunday gets canceled, I immediately go into, okay, I got to get ready for the week.
Yeah.
Let's make sure laundry's done. Let's make sure the place is
Yeah.
cleaned up. And so the last thing on my mind is, oh, right, there's a weekly thing that I usually can't do that I can now do. But yes, I would not be opposed to jumping into the tower with people if they wanted to on any given day. The problem is just that you guys raid on nights I'm busy. So the likely answer is no.
Well,
But
I mean, to be fair, someone did pick those nights to record shows.
When they stopped raiding.
When they stopped.
right, because it turns out when you have set aside like a 3-hour block of time on specific nights, it's real convenient to fill that time when it's free. All of a sudden, you go, what if I cut out this weird obligation I've given my life? Oh, it's gone. Sweet, I can put something else there now. I can.
Funny
I can
how life
reschedule.
works like that.
Yeah.
Kind of odd. Kind of
It's
odd.
it's like water. Something's gonna rush in and fill the gap as soon as it's created.
Yeah.
And-
So my biggest thing with this tower that I'm wondering about is, if I do decide to stream it, is it just going to be me walking in? Hey guys, I'm doing the tower. This is great. The first mob kills me. Never mind. I'm done for the night.
Thanks for this is my stream. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
I'll make sure to put that on YouTube.
I'm gonna
somebody
upload
subscribe
it.
there.
We're gonna get better tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Yeah.
Now, I'm actually looking forward to it. I think it's going to be kind of cool, and especially like the idea of the next expansion being more alt friendly. Like, I love my main. I love playing as a monk. I love playing as a healing monk. I think we've talked about that once or twice already. This episode even.
Maybe.
But I like the idea of being all like, "Hey, I'm a badass warrior. I'm gonna go in here and just wreck everything," and see how that goes. And I'll be able to do it because guess what? I can like level my alt in a way that makes sense and actually be kind of ready to do whatever I need to when I'm at max level. I'm so excited about that stuff. Like, I can't wait for 8.3 to get here because I'm really interested in that. And especially seeing a fully like fixed version of the zone that I can't think of the name, Eternal Golden Springs Land.
Vale
in
of Eternal
Pandaria.
Blossoms.
That place. And I missed having it like nice. Except I want to know how we're gonna get into the raid.
I think the entrance to the raid changes based on which zone is being invaded at a given time. It's kind of weird. If I
So
remember
If
correctly.
Pandaria is being invaded, then the well is empty and we just go down there?
Maybe. I haven't checked out exactly where the raid entrance is, but I do think that the entrance moves depending on where stuff is going on.
I just like the idea of diving down to get into a raid entrance as opposed to, just talking to someone and be like, hey, I want to do that thing.
Yeah.
The Siege of Orgrimmar is awesome. And I'd still need to keep going back to try to get those Manorath shoulders. Just because. They're cool. Giant tusks, just on your shoulder. Hey, look, I'm Garrosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's who you
'cause
want to
how
be.
he sounds. Exactly.
There's a role model for you. Warlords of Draenor, am I right?
Hey, 88 miles per hour.
Well, bro, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Azeroth Roundtable.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on, and I hope that you guys have a very happy Wintervale.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I hope you do too. But, until next time we have you on, which, we do that kind of a lot, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Brian Podcaster, and I do 3 different Blizzard shows: Realm Maintenance, Rolling Restart, and Hearth Casual. You can find out more about all of those shows by going to warcraftradio.com. That's kind of a new thing I'm involved in that was announced just a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also part of a D&D podcast called Plus 5 to Hit with several good friends, Ben, Brian, TBK, and Jeff, and the gang's all together, and we're having a lot of fun, and I can't wait for Monday.
And
And
Another Dungeons and Dragons thing that you do.
that's right, because I gotta start promoting this more often. So there's another Dungeons and Dragons thing that I just started doing with TBK and Wicked Kitten and Mick Montgomery and Jesse Kobayashi and oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember my DM's name.
Oh my gosh, you forgot the DM's name.
I'm
You are
just
now
lost
rolling at
DM inspiration.
disadvantage for the rest.
Here's
of
my
the
first
episode.
question
much.
about your new show, Ro. Do you have a backup character made?
I probably should, right?
I'm sure Daryl would love it if you did.
Yes.
Look at Ben
it-
subtly
but
helping. What a champ.
That show is called Feats of Fellowship, and that is on the Spazbot Studios Twitch channel. Typically run every other Wednesday night. We're taking a little bit of break for the holidays, but we'll be back in January.
Yeah. Have you done 2 episodes already? Because I've only heard the
We
first
did
one so far.
we did an episode 0 and we did an episode 1 just a
Okay.
week later. So you'll probably want to check the Spazbot feed. The video might still be up there. I
hope
don't
so.
know if he's converted it into an audio form yet for podcast.
Okay. I really enjoyed it. You got a really good group there. And John, if you haven't, you should definitely check it out. It's pretty good.
Mick is great.
He's awesome.
Mick and TBK, God, they're so awesome. Jesse is quite a character with his paladin, and Wicked's awesome too because it's her first D&D game. And me, I'm just happy to be there.
Like, no, you should check it out. Monica's character is pretty awesome. Like, definitely check out the whole thing for everybody. Everybody did an awesome job. Like, even though you guys said that, like, it was her first time playing, it was someone else's first time playing. I forget who else, but like, you can't tell. They just kind of went right in there, and it's a lot of fun. Definitely check it out. With it Feats and Fellowship.
Yep, Feats of Fellowship on the Spazbot Studios Twitch channel.
All right. John, if people are looking for you, where can they find you?
Hey everybody, you can follow me on Twitter at John_Jagger. That's where I tweet and I tell you what's up. And I get constantly surprised at what's popular there
Tweet.
as opposed to what is not popular there. I don't know. Anyway, if you want to catch me on another show, you can catch me on Core.
Core!
That's a video game podcast talking about video games.
What?
We all play video games here. Well, we talk about them there. Here, there, and everywhere. Core. And also we talk about
Core.
other things. If you want to learn about jizz music, it's a good place to go. So
I know exactly what you're talking about.
So do I.
I highly recommend that show. And
You know, just really quick, I saw a tweet earlier this week that someone saying that Max Rebo didn't have legs, and that pissed me off because I know he does. That's all. I
Thank
didn't
you, Ben.
respond because I'm like, I'm not doing that.
all right. Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, Ro talked about Dungeons and Dragons, and now I'm going to talk about Dungeons and Dragons before Ben talks about Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons. Turns out it's
Whoa.
popular. It's even popular amongst the people on this show, and I play in a game. The show that we do around that game is called There Will Be Dungeons. We play mostly every week. We were hoping to manage something this week, but with the holidays so close, it's just not happening this weekend. So we are looking to still do one the following weekend. But it's a great time to get caught up and check it out. I play several characters on that show, and you can find out more about it at therewillbedungeons.com.
That game has gone into some very interesting places lately.
Still, my favorite thing about that show right now is nothing.
Yeah, nothing's pretty good.
Squirts is pretty good too, though.
Squirts is my current favorite thing. As much as I love nothing, Squirts is a magical thing.
And was it Chunks? Squirts and Chunks?
Squirts and Chunks. You know, if you're
Yeah.
going to have a baby around, you might as well pull it into the story.
She does such a good job at that.
No, Chunks, no!
Now we're gonna go play Trixies.
Tricks! Can't help it. It's just good. It's just, it gets in your head and you just think it. And I couldn't help but think it the other day. I Oh, I was watching some show and they did magic and someone said tricks and I immediately just went, no, tricks, no. So, anyway, if you want to know what all this madness is about, therewillbedungeons.com. Hey, Ben, we've
Yes,
talked
John.
about D&D and things we do. I'd like to hear the same from you.
Well, golly gosh. Aside from this show, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Ben Bumhofer. But I also do a Dungeons and Dragons game show where we play Dungeons and Dragons called Plus 5 to Hit. You might have heard it earlier on this episode. Thank you to everybody who's actually jumped in and started listening and stuff from, we don't really talk about that all over the place. We need to tweet about that more often, I think.
We do.
Because it's a pretty good game. I actually really enjoyed it, and it's going places.
It
It's
is.
definitely going places.
Things are getting a bit more serious now. The stakes are getting
my.
higher.
Yes, they are. But if you're like, hey, I listen to all these Dungeons and Dragons games. I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Well, I do a show with TBK Zord, also known as Ryan Reeder. It's called D in Discussions. It's D then N then Discussions.
Yeah, it's
And-
probably better you clarified that because this time it sounded like you said in discussions.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm putting
Like,
my
it-
D in this discussion.
It's a great, clever name until we realize we need to say it to people.
Mm-hmm.
I've had some confusion on that. But new episode comes out on Monday, December 23rd. And guess what? We just off the cuff create a one-shot, holiday themed. Check it out.
Oh,
It's actually a
look at
really
that.
fun episode. And then we talk about some house rules, which at some point, John, I need to talk to you about something that might be changing in our game. Yeah.
Is it for everybody or is it just for
it's
me?
for everybody.
Oh, nice.
I already talked to Eluder about it on the next episode of Box Fort that's going to be posted pretty soon. And I got her thoughts and opinions on it, and I've altered the house rule already to something that I think is a little bit more fair.
You have
Should
you
we
have
pray
a-
you don't alter it any further?
Yeah. Apparently, a house rule you learned about really grabbed you by the
Yeah.
gruff.
It did.
What's the house rule? I'm curious.
Okay,
We've
so-
teased it now. We got to talk.
Yeah,
about it.
we have. And Nevermore's sitting right over there too, so she can weigh in and stuff if she needs. But the idea is that you go down and then you need to roll death saves.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I like the house rule that I heard of the DM makes the death save, so you actually don't know what's going on, and it raises a lot of tension, and the rest of your party is like, oh crap, we actually need to help them because we actually don't know what sort of state they're in. As opposed to, I roll and I say, hey, that's a success. It's like, great, I know I still have 3 rounds to get to them.
Oh, that's dark. I kind of like it.
Now, talking with Eludra, spoilers for Box Fort, she didn't like the idea of taking that agency away from the player, which I'm like, okay, I can get that. I understand that. So I'm altering it to you roll, you send me a message, let me know what it was, but the rest of the party doesn't know. So we still have that tension going on, but it's still in your hands.
I think that's good because I would say, yeah, when you told me that the one downside is, and I don't get this way about D&D, but I know generally there's a thought of like, no, it's my fate, it's my destiny,
Yeah,
I'm rolling
exactly.
it. So I definitely understand that. And that was probably the one takeaway I would have had. So I kind of like this revised version. I dig it. I like what's going on there. Not letting people metagame we got time to save them. Though an
Exactly.
argument could be made that you could look at somebody and go, he's wiggling a little. He's probably fine for a little bit longer. But I
The
like
pinky
it.
toe is wiggling.
Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, is he dead? And he's just laying there and then he goes, oh, he's fine.
no, he's cool.
He's good. He's shaking his hands. He's good.
Yeah, except, bodies do switch when
We
they're
got
good.
probably 12 seconds left before I got to do something to this guy.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was a really cool rule when I heard it. And like I said, to build tension and actually make it matter more, I'm like, this is a really good way to do it. But then I really do think that, yeah, taking it out of the player's hands, not the way to do it.
Yeah.
So,
You
yeah.
got to
and-
let people roll their role.
And I mean, to be fair, she's the only person that's been incapacitated in our game so far multiple times. So getting her feedback was a good first step, I think. So yeah, we'll talk about it once we actually the next time we play, which is going to be next month sometime. So
Yeah, it'll
But,
probably.
anyways-
I mean, I'm surprised it's not in 2 weeks, but you know, what are you gonna do?
Very true. But anyway, so yeah, so you can hear discussion like that on DN Discussions. Check it out. This show, though, which is all about World of Warcraft, you can check us out on Twitter. We are at AzerothRT. If this is the first episode you've ever heard and you like what you hear, you can find every other episode we've ever done on AzerothRoundtable.com, as well as on iTunes, Spotify, and a whole bunch of other places. In fact, John, did you see that I tweeted out our Spotify stuff? Because we got one of those, like, hey, podcasters on Spotify, find out what's going on.
Yeah, that
for
link
the
didn't
year.
do anything for me though. It
Cool.
just took me to a place where I could log in.
Gotcha. Well, the neat thing is that we have been listened to in 50 countries.
Wow.
I know, right? That's kind
Jeez.
of cool.
No, that makes me sad. I just feel like I've pulled the wool over so many eyes.
Well, we have that as well, actually. But anyways, so you can check us out there. If you have any questions, comments, or you want to predict what John's Volpera is going to be, go ahead and send those emails to AzerothRoundtable@gmail.com. I remembered. And of course, we do stream this live pretty much every week. Friday nights. Check out our Twitter to find out when we'll be streaming live on twitch.tv/AzerothRT.
That's right. Now, the reason Ben said pretty much is we are coming up on the holidays, and some of you know what that means. That means we do a Star Wars episode, at least when they decide to
There's a
do
Star Wars movie.
Star Wars movies in December, as opposed to way too soon after the previous Star Wars movie, and then we had to talk about Spider-Man or something. I don't know. I don't remember what we did last year. That was a year ago, and as this show, even with these guests, has clearly established, I cannot remember what happened a year ago. It's a fact. So anyway, this year we are going to be talking about Star Wars. We're going to be talking about The Rise of Skywalker. And we're going to be talking about probably The Mandalorian as well.
Probably.
Yeah. And the rise it gives us. But
Oh.
that's going to be coming out sometime next week. Ben and I are going to figure out when we're recording. Figure that gives people enough time to where it's not literally the day after it started showing. So you've got a little bit of time. Obviously, there will be spoilers, but I'm looking forward to it.
John.
Yeah.
Last year, we didn't do any sort of holiday episode.
We just did an episode
We did
around this
straight
time.
up episode. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It was episode 300. That came out on December 22nd. It was
Yeah.
just you and me. And then on December 29th, it was you, me, and Zandara.
Okay.
Or Kara.
Nice.
So, wow. So, hey, yeah.
Well, we're
this year,
we're slacking
we're
this
doing-
year. Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing Rise of Skywalker because that's a movie.
Yeah, it's a movie
It
we
is.
watched. We watched it last night. Ben watched it again today.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, look for that. We are not live streaming it, right? So it's just going to
No.
pop up on your feed, and that will be how you get it. But hey, all this content, be it talking about World of Warcraft or talking about Star Wars, is made possible by people who go to patreon.com/AzerothRT. As Ben's finger gun suggests,
I thought you were going to do people like you,
You.
so I was like, you.
yeah, you could be
But-
one of those people.
You might be.
Patreon.com/AzerothRT is where people go to do that. And we want to thank all our patrons and give a special shout out to the Murloc Club. That's Aaron, Blixie the Rogue, Brandon O, Caleb M, Kilroy Tastic, Sarah M, and Taryn. Thank you so much for being part of the Murloc Club. And thank
That's
you to
right.
all our patrons.
Thank you very much, everybody. I am so happy for all the support you've given us this year. It means a lot, even though there's still one more episode left of the year, but I just want to say it now. Mainly because we have a chat room going, and I know that there's actually people listening, whereas next week it's not going to be the same. But chat room, you're awesome. Thank you very much for joining us this week live. Ro, again, thank you very much for coming on the episode. John, you're pretty cool, and I'm glad we do the show together. And until next time, everybody, be good to each other. And that's a show.
Yeah, it is.
Hey, we did